Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to see you here at the Adiva Learning Center, and I am going live right now for you in order to conduct a small Q&A session and maybe an explanatory session about the famous and my favorite, probably, IELTS Writing Task 2. I will be quite happy if you join me today in order to discuss this task and in order to understand what kind of skills do you need to employ while writing, what kind of skills the test will test. Pardon for the same word twice in a row, but the test really tests your ability to write, correct? Because this is why it's called a test. We will finally also try to answer a couple of questions of yours, if you have any, about writing task 2 on IELTS. And let me start with briefing you on the first question of the session, which is the question analysis. And now the question that I'm referring to currently is the question of your IELTS essay. You already know there are two tasks in your IELTS writing section, and the first one is to write a report on either a graph if you're writing an academic test, or to write a letter if you're writing a general test. However, when we're talking about writing task 2, this one is quite generic, I would say, for both of the modules, academic and general modules, and you are expected to write an academic style essay on a common topic. You will have 40 minutes to write about 250 words. Now, what is a common topic? This is a nice question because usually IELTS covers a variety of different topics. However, there are some topics that are generally never covered, such as religion or politics. You are not expected to touch upon those topics, and therefore you probably don't even need to think too much about those topics and kind of trying to prepare yourself to those. No need, because they are considered to be controversial, and therefore you will not see them on your IELTS test. Now, the task 2 can be broken down and thought about more easily in 5 steps. What are those 5 steps? Step 1 is the question analysis. So you must first understand the question to know exactly what the examiner is looking for. One of the biggest mistakes students make is not answering the question properly, right? If you do not answer the question fully, you can't score higher than a band 5, unfortunately. Therefore, even though you think that, okay, I kind of understand this topic, I kind of even have some background knowledge of this topic, I might write something that because I understand what's going on in this field, maybe I work in this field, maybe I have done a research in this field, so I kind of know and feel the topic, and now I can write a nice essay about it. No, unfortunately, it doesn't work like this, because in order to be sufficient with your answer on the IELTS writing section, you must know by heart what are the correct structures and what are the types of questions you will be asked. In order to do this, you must first identify the question type and then identify the keywords in the question, and finally identify words in order to find out what the examiner wants you to do with the question. We will now look at the skills in more detail. Further, however, frequently the task asks you to either give your own opinion or evaluate a statement or think of advantages and disadvantages. And sometimes people just omit this part. They think that, okay, I might really write something general about the topic, something that I know, give a couple of examples from my life, maybe cite a research that I've done or a piece of news that I've heard. And that's okay. No, it's not okay, because when there is a certain type of a question that IELTS writing section poses you, asks you, you really must feel and understand what this question is about. and then you proceed to answering it, not just randomly throwing out facts that you know about the topic, not just covering with your own understanding about the topic, but rather giving out the exact solution and the exact structure that a certain question entails. The second step is to plan out. The students who get the highest marks plan before they write. Yes, they do. And they often plan for up to 10 minutes. This might sound crazy because you only have 40 minutes to write 250 words in your task 2 on writing. However, believe me, those 10 minutes, even 5 minutes, if you invest them in planning out what you're going to write, the results will be outstanding. Well, they will be outstanding from your past performance when you didn't employ the strategy of planning, because planning out an academic essay, why is this so crucial? First of all, academic essays are not general essays. This is not a subject that you probably use in your everyday life. This is not a topic that you are thinking about every day. Like, for example, what are the advantages and disadvantages of I don't know, of employing a new electric cars transportation system in your country. Probably this is not a topic you are thinking about every day in your life, right? If you are a well-rounded person with a broad outlook, then yes, of course, you are thinking about this topic. You will think about this topic maybe a couple of times per month, I guess, but definitely not every day, unless you are a professional in this field. And therefore, coming up with arguments and coming up with a clear structure on what exactly you're going to say or write in your essay really, really takes time. And under the pressure of time constraint, being stressed and being nervous will definitely make you, I would say, pressured to write hectically and not very clearly, and then ended up making mistakes. Third step is the introduction. So the introduction should tell the examiner what the rest of the essay is about, and also answer the question directly. So the introduction is the first thing that your examiner sees and reads in your essay, and the introduction should answer the question directly. This tells the examiner that you know what you're going to talk about, you know straight away what you're writing about, and helps to write your main body paragraphs. Because if the introduction is super vague and ambiguous, the examiner will feel that you are yourself not very sure about like the whole topic and about your maybe even opinion on that. So you must be 100% clear on what you are writing, obviously, in your essay, and state the direct answer to the question in the title of your essay in the introduction. Next, main body paragraphs. So this is where you give the examiner more detail. You do this by stating your main points and supporting these with explanations and relevant examples. Again, you're doing this by stating the main points of your statements. Stating statements, you see, those words are correlated. They have the same root. So you create the statements, you write them down in your body paragraphs. Those are your arguments, either in favor or not in favor of the topic you're writing about. Maybe you are agreeing or disagreeing on something. Maybe you are just stating your opinion. Maybe you are covering advantages and disadvantages, but still you're stating your main points in the body paragraphs, and then you're supporting these with explanations, which is crucial, and also relevant examples. And lastly, a conclusion. Here you provide a summary of what you have already said in the rest of the essay, right? So those are 5 steps that take you from the beginning of just analyzing the question of your writing task 2, thinking what kind of question is it, what kind of topic I will cover, what kind of answer I should give, and then going moving forward to planning your answer, to writing an introduction, to writing main body paragraphs, and lastly, to writing a conclusion. Okay, so now we will talk a little bit about some essential information about writing. Before that, I want to address a couple of questions that I have right now: how to improve the vocabulary and how to speak the best English. Love this question. It's Sahil asks it. I hope I'm pronouncing your names correct, guys. Correctly. Unfortunately, I will not address the questions right. Oh no, I will probably do it right now. Yeah. So how to improve the vocabulary? Nice question. Luckily, I have recorded a video stating all the tips that I personally use and strategies that I personally use in order to improve your vocabulary. I have sent it in the comment section below. You can have a look. It's completely free, obviously. You can watch it, and there are all these strategies that I use personally myself in order to improve my vocabulary, in order to learn words faster, in order to be a more fluent speaker. So please check that out. And how to speak the best English? Love this question. Amazing. Of course, you need your vocabulary to be on point. You need your pronunciation to be very clear. You need to stick to one accent, which might be difficult for a non-native speaker. However, it is the best to find and establish what kind of a English accent you want to imitate and you kind of want to adopt, because there are obviously different accents, right? There can be an American accent, there can be a British accent, there can be an accent from New Zealand or Australia, which are quite different. And so you must kind of identify for yourself what accent do you like the most and what accent you will stick to, and then just stick to it and not transfer. One day you're speaking with a British accent and another day you're speaking with an American accent. Obviously, this is not how it works. So the vocabulary and pronunciation and the accent, Ishak, if this is the correct pronunciation of your name, this is what I'm doing. I'm talking right now on how to speak as a native. Listen. So the first thing, as I have already said, this is the vocabulary. The second thing, this is your pronunciation, the clearness of your pronunciation. How clear and how easy, how clear do you pronounce your words, and how easy it is for a listener to understand what you're saying. And then sticking to the accent that you've chosen for your English language. And lastly, sticking to a structure of your answer, right? Because sometimes people just start talking about one thing, then they deviate completely from that thing, and they finish their answer either in writing or in speaking, talking about something else, completely something else. And then the examiner is like, what is going on here? Why is this person have started talking about bottles and now they're talking about cars? Why? And people really do this. Like, honestly, people do this. And sometimes you're just thinking, why is this so? What is the logic behind this person starting to talk about one thing and then deviating completely and finishing with another thing, not even relating them anyhow, not even having any coherence? And here, the question of Ahmed, which is the next one, how important is coherence, really comes in place timely, because coherence is of an utmost importance. Regardless of whether you're writing an essay or whether you're speaking and giving a speech or answering a speaking question, regardless of what you're doing, your coherence is the only thing that really makes the listener or the reader understand that you know what you're talking about or what you're writing about. Because again, believe me, so many people just throw out their incoherent sentences. What are the incoherent sentences? Again, they just start speaking or writing about one thing and then they deviate and finish with completely another thing, which is not related. And then sentences together are not coherent and cohesive as well. And the whole essay is not coherent, or the whole speech is not coherent. And it feels like the person doesn't really understand themselves what they're talking about, which is definitely not the impression you want to make, right? Fatima, the question on how to manage time. Thank you so much. What do you mean exactly managing time in writing, speaking, reading, listening, in your life, in your business, in your marriage? I don't really know what you imply by this. So please specify manage time where. Now we will kind of deviate to our topic. Go back to our main topic, which is writing task 2. Some essential information right now about writing task 2. So now there will be probably around 10 facts I will give you. And many students worry about these small details instead of focusing on what really matters, improving your performance, because sometimes people think that there are secrets that will magically make you speak like a native or write like a native or score 9 in your reading or reading on your IELTS. No, there are no secrets. There is just hard work every day and improvement of your performance. Without grasping the whole picture of the exam, of the preparation, and without really improving your performance and striving for improvement, you will not really achieve anything. So now the following facts, like for instance, you must write an essay in response to a question, right? This is something you already know. There will be a question and your essay is a response to a question. You must write 250 words or more. Now, what is the more part? In my opinion, it is the best to write around 300 words. When it's more than 350, it's too much. It's definitely too much. I would say 290, 300 is a perfect word count for writing task 2. You should also spend around 40 minutes on this part of the test, because the rest of your hour dedicated to the writing section, I mean 20 minutes, will go to writing the task 1. Task 2 is worth 2/3 of your total mark on the writing test, so therefore you expect to dedicate more time to it, and therefore you're not writing you're not dividing your time 50-50, like 30 minutes for task 1, 30 minutes for task 2. No, you are dedicating 2/3 of your time to write the task 2, and therefore it will give you 2/3 of your total mark. General training and academic are essentially the same for task 2, but different for task 1. You already know this. There are also certain type of questions you will be asked, such as opinion, discussion, etc. We will also get in more detail on these. And here is the crucial part on what you will be assessed on. You will be assessed in 4 areas, guys. First of all, task achievement. What is task achievement? Task achievement shows to what extent you have understood the question and to what extent you have delivered the answer to the question, covering everything that was implied. So if your structure was correct, if you have directly answered the question in your introduction, if you really covered all the points that were asked in the task. So this is the grading for task achievement. Second is coherence and cohesion. And this is the part where they look at how cohesive are your sentences between each other. Do you use linking words? Is it easy for a reader to follow your thoughts through the essay? Is it easy to understand why have you started talking about this and finished talking about that? Is there a whole main idea for one essay? Are the main ideas of paragraphs correlated and cohesive? So those are all the questions that the examiner will ask themselves when evaluating your essay for coherence and cohesion. Then the lexical resource. For the lexical resource, they will look into how how many words do you use in general? How many different words? How frequently do you use synonyms? How frequently do you repeat the same words, which is bad? How fitted are words into the context? Sometimes people just misuse words. They have no idea what is the correct context of using a particular word, and they just throw it out thinking that, okay, I know a high-level word, a rare word. I will now just plug it in. But then they don't really understand the context. They don't really feel where to use this word. What is the appropriate time and appropriate context, I'm sorry for that word. And lastly, the grammar range and accuracy. So for grammar range, you should really showcase what different tenses or different grammar structures that you can use or know. Passive voice, conditional sentences. You must use all the grammar structures to the point. They must be really, really fitting into the context. It's not, again, it's not like just throwing out the grammar structures that you know. You should probably stick to a simpler structure of sentences if you're not sure on how to use the complex structure. Because I know so many people who just spoiled their whole performance trying to use very complex sentences and then not really understanding how to write a complex sentence correctly. They're just like, oh no, I must insert here a complex sentence to get a higher band score. But then they just fail because of many mistakes. A lot of people don't pay attention to their punctuation. Where do they use commas? Where do they use full stops, columns, semicolons? And also spelling. Spelling is of huge importance. You just must spell all the words 100% correctly. So those are 4 things you are graded on: task achievement, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, and grammar range. All of them get 25% of importance, like of weight in the overall task grade. The questions will be about common topics that the most people should be aware of. You shouldn't be an expert in a field in order to address an IELTS writing question. The most important thing is that you can demonstrate that you can clearly communicate your ideas in writing, that you can think of an answer and then write it clearly so that the native speaker or the examiner understands. And the key to doing well is to know exactly what the examiners want and giving it to them. So this is why I usually underscore the importance of understanding what kind of skills are tested and what exactly do the examiners want to see in your IELTS writing, or even in other sections. It's not only about writing. Okay, now let's deviate a little bit back to questions. I will answer a couple of questions that you guys have. Ishak asks, which time you will be online every day? I will not be online every day, Ishak, no. I will be here maybe a couple of times per month, maybe once per week. I'm not sure yet. You will be notified in advance when I'm coming live. If you're not notified, you can still watch my live recordings. No problem in that. You don't need to drop everything you're doing and run to your computer in order to watch my live stream. No, you can always watch them recorded. Ahmed asks, how important are examples in writing task 2? Of course, examples are crucial and very important to understand and get a gist of how other people write the essays. And obviously it is better to use band 9 essays, although it is very difficult right now on the internet when looking for free materials. It is quite different to tell the difference. It's difficult. It's quite difficult to tell the difference between real band 9 score essays and like band 5, band 7, band 8, because sometimes scammers create PDF files with essays, then they claim that those are Band 9 essays and they're not, and when you are not a proficient English user, you cannot tell the difference, right? And then you end up using low band score essays because you think they are high band score essays, which is quite bad. So therefore, it is quite important to work with professionals and to draw information from reliable sources, from trustworthy sources, which are the Adivo Learning Center, because you are right now here and we are right now having a very straightforward talk with you guys on how to better perform in your IELTS writing. And you can also sign up for my personal course, which is the Rocket Speed IELTS preparation course that I conduct every month, and we cover there all the 4 modules for IELTS. We have a lot of practice. I give away a lot of different materials. I consult people all the time. I give them my personal guidance, and those are online courses. You don't have to go anywhere physically to take a course. You can also sign up for my Rocket Speed IELTS preparation course through the Adivo Learning Center, and they will apply their own conditions to this, or you can sign up directly through me. It doesn't really matter. It's the question of your preference. However, I always welcome all the people to my course, and the next stream of the course will start on the first Monday of December, which is the 3rd of December, I believe. Okay, since there are no more questions, we're going back to writing task 2 talk. And what is the preparation to writing a nice task 2 essay? So many people know that they need to improve their writing, but they have no idea how to do this, sadly. And now we will go through the methodology that kind of helps you to understand how to improve your writing. First of all, you need to acknowledge that you will have mistakes, because this is a learning process. When you are in the learning process, you are making mistakes. This is perfectly normal. You must first understand what the exam is, if you haven't yet, what the examiners expect you to do, and those are the structures that you will learn by heart on how to write correct essays. In the first stage, you need to really not overlook it, because so many people just overlook, they just ditch it, get rid of the first stage. They don't try to spend any time actually understanding what the exam is about and what kind of skills are tested. There are a huge number of online resources for free and paid, often with conflicting and poor quality information. So finding a reliable source of information is the key. And we have already talked about this a little bit, because the reliability of your information really is of huge importance, especially if you're not as proficient as required to tell the difference between low quality and high quality materials. Then you need to identify the problem. So for instance, if your car broke down, you should stop and try to identify what is the problem with the car, right? You're not trying to drive further if the car is broken. You're stopping and trying to look for the cause that caused the problem. If you're sick, the same, your doctor will come to you and ask questions and examine your whole health in order to understand what is the problem. Same in writing task 2. You must first identify why you're not getting the scores that you need before you can move to the next stage. How to do this? Either consult with a professional, sign up for a writing course. Again, we will have the writing course in my Rocket Speed IELTS preparation course. Or you can use any other different kind of writing course preparation, so that people can actually evaluate your essays. There are obviously free evaluations online as well. Again, the question is, how reliable are those? Can you actually compromise the quality of your preparation in order to get something for free? But this is your own choice. Once you have identified what the problem is, the next step is to fix the problem, right? So since you know what went wrong, you're able to understand if your grammar needs some work, fix those issues. If your vocabulary is lacking, work on fixing these issues. If you feel like you're not using enough synonyms, then sit down and learn more synonyms. This is just a hard work. Nothing will come like this. Nothing will come to your life because you're just looking for a secret to solve this. No, you really should sit down and learn, and this takes time. But this is the only way you can really ensure the high quality knowledge, that you are gaining the knowledge, that you are retaining it, and that in the future you will be able to use this. Next step is practice and feedback. Practice alone is not going to help you, because if you don't know what to do, how to write properly, you will just keep on writing in a wrong way. So what is the point of practicing writing in a wrong way, right? It is essential part of your preparation though. However, you must also get feedback on your work each time you practice. You must understand if I'm doing this right, if the practice that I'm doing really benefits me, if I learn something new, if I improve my writing or not. You wouldn't try to teach yourself how to drive without a driving instructor, would you? And lastly is the improvement stage. So once you have understood what the test is about, once you have identified your problem, you fixed it, you practiced, you got feedback on your practice, this is how you improve. This is the whole improvement process, because each time you're going through those steps, you're gaining more knowledge, more practical skills, and you're able to perform better and better each time, each new essay. So no matter how good your English is, you still need to learn some IELTS writing skills before you do writing task 2. Even if you're a native speaker, you still need to learn some techniques that will bring you to your best writing task 2. So first of all, as we already know, making a good plan actually saves a lot of time. There are normally around 16 normally people, not 16, 10. Normally people spend around 10 minutes on planning, but of course you can use, I don't know, 5 minutes to plan. And a lot of people say that they don't have time. What do you have time for? For making mistakes? This is something you have time for? Really? For just paying a lot of money for your IELTS test, go in there and just making mistakes. This is what you have time for? I doubt it, because you really must make some time to plan. This will save more of your time in the future on not retaking the test. This will save you from not paying again for the test. This will save you so much nerves. And briefly on how to plan. How does a plan save your time actually? So you have 40 minutes to write a task 2 essay. Even if you took 10 minutes to plan, or 5 minutes to check your work in the end, this still leaves you with 25 minutes to write your essay. The average 20 to 150 word essay is about 12 sentences long. So you have over 2 minutes to write one sentence. I think everyone is capable of doing this. 2 minutes for one sentence. Easy. I can write an essay, a sentence in probably like 30 seconds, even less, 15 seconds, if this is not a super complex sentence. But here you have 2 minutes per one sentence, even if you take time to plan for 10 minutes and then review your answers for 5 minutes in the end. When you have a good plan, you know exactly what the sentence is going to be about already, and now how it fits with the rest of the essay. So you don't have to think of ideas or about structure, just writing sentences that are grammatically correct and clearly say what you think about the question. You don't have to spend exactly 10 minutes planning and 5 minutes checking at the end. You could plan for 7 minutes, for example, and check for 3 minutes. Practice to find out what works the best for you. You don't have a clue or like a general key that unlocks all the doors. The practice is very individual, and you need to kind of feel what is the best for you. Question analysis. So as we have already kind of talked about this, this is probably the most important stage. We are planning and we are analyzing a question. And in order to succeed in your question analysis, you really need to understand what kind of questions are out there. So in summary, for example, let's look at an example, right? Let's make up something. Imagine that you see a task like this. One of the consequences of improved medical care is that the people are living longer and life expectancy is increasing. Do you think the advantages of this outweigh disadvantages? This can be a typical IELTS writing task 2 topic. The keywords here are improved medical care. So this is our general topic. It is important to know this, not only that we should write about, but also what we shouldn't write about, right? It is important to understand what are we writing about, what are we not writing about. A common mistake is to highlight the main keywords or a main topic and write about this very generally, just everything you know about this. This is what we have started the lesson from. People just sometimes see, okay, cool, medical care, this is the keyword. I'm a medical student, or I'm a nurse, or I'm a doctor. I'm gonna ace it because this is my topic, this is my field. Now I will write everything I know about this, and this will be the best essay they have seen in their lives. No, this is not how it works. Because you need to think about things more specifically and look for what I call micro keywords. For example, in our example, this can be living longer and life expectancy is increasing. So therefore, we need to write about these and how improved medical care has increased life expectancy. But we can't just write a general essay about this. We must look at the instruction words next. So what are the instruction words? They instruct you on what kind of information you should give from yourself. And these are, do you think the advantages outweigh disadvantages? These were our instruction words. In this example, we will have to decide which side, advantages or disadvantages, is stronger. If you choose advantages, then you will have to say why these are much stronger and why disadvantages are not so strong, for example. If you just discuss the advantages, you will not answer the question correctly. So you also need to make your own opinion about this very clear. So in general, to summarize, we must first find the keywords, understand the general topic, then find the micro keywords, understand the specific topic of the task, of the essay, and finally find the instruction words, understand how exactly to answer a question. And next step is the idea generation. So a lot of teachers and books about IELTS advise students to brainstorm, so to think about as many ideas as possible at this stage. Sometimes it might not be the most relevant. Instead of brainstorming, you can also answer questions directly, right? So if one of your friends asked you this question in a coffee shop, for example, you would not have time to brainstorm an answer, right? But you might probably take some time to frame it with the why question. So like asking yourself, why are the advantages of increased life expectancy strong? Or why are disadvantages of increased life expectancy weak? So you can then simply think of 1 or 2 relevant ideas for each of these questions, kind of asking yourself, why is this a thing? The advantages of increased life expectancy are strong, for example, because most people think it is good if their friends and family don't die too quickly and everyone is happier. Like this is a general statement. Or the disadvantages are that there is more demand for food and resources. But this is a weak argument because technology can solve these problems. So you can have really, really different ideas and you can really cover different topics if you are asking yourself why question. Why is this a thing? Now we're going back to the questions. Now I will answer a couple of your questions. Malik asks how to improve fluency and also any tips on how to go good with the synonyms. We need to memorize some vocabulary list. Of course, you need to memorize synonyms. I have already sent a video of mine. I'm already sending it to you where I'm talking about how to improve your vocabulary, how to deal with synonyms. You can just, oh my God, forgot the word, watch. You can just watch that video. There are 10 tips, very simple tips on how to memorize words, how to learn them, how to retain in your memory. Now, the second question was how to speak with fluency, and this is the question that Mian asks as well. Mian, here is another video of mine, because really I am answering these questions for the 100th time in my life, I think, and I've just recorded videos so that I don't have to die answering the same questions again and again all over the world, and people just can have a look and write down everything I say, like my tips. So how to improve speaking at home, in that video I gave 11 different tips on how to speak with fluency, how to improve your speaking. Not even having a speaking partner. You really don't have to have a speaking partner to speak perfectly. I never had a native speaker to speak with. I am Russian, by the way. My native language is Russian. English is not my native language. My parents don't speak English. My friends don't speak English. People in Russia generally don't speak English. It's quite rare that you find someone speaking English in Russia on a good level. And I never had a native speaker to practice with. I never went abroad until this autumn. So for this semester, I study in Switzerland, and this is why I took IELTS to get admitted to the best business school in Switzerland, where I study in English, obviously. So this is how I got fluent, using the tips that I have outlined in the video that I sent you. Not even having a speaking partner. It's perfectly feasible. It's perfectly achievable, I would say. You don't need to go abroad. You don't need to move to an English-speaking country. You don't have to have a native speaking partner. You just have to speak, even with yourself. And I'm talking about this in the videos I sent you. Yeah, so this is kind of it. Today we have spent 40 minutes on covering the topic of IELTS Writing Task 2. Of course, there are a lot more things we can talk about in the field of Writing Task 2, obviously, and of course, I will have more live streams here at the Adiva Learning Center. If you want to stay in touch with my resources, I can also send you links to places where you can get more information from me. I have a YouTube channel, I have email subscriptions, I have Facebook help groups, I have a podcast, I have like a ton of stuff where you can get a lot of free materials. So again, all the links are in the description box down below, or not description box, the comment section down below. Mian again asks, does watching English movies improve your English vocabulary? Let's think about this, right? You're watching an English movie. You hear English words. You stop the movie to look up the English word, to look up the translation. You write down the translation of the word, you learn it. Watching English movies, learning English words. I think they are connected, right? I think this is kind of obvious. When you consume information in English, any type of information, is it a movie? Is it a book? Is it a music lyrics, like a song? Is it an advertisement on TV? I don't really care. Each time you consume any kind of information in English, you are learning English words. So this is obviously nice for improving your vocabulary, because it doesn't matter where you learn your words from. Is it a movie? Is it a book? No one cares, as long as you really learn those words. So yes, thank you so much for being here, guys. I really appreciate your input as well. 24 comments, a lot of good discussions. Catch me again here at the Adiva Learning Center. Going live, I don't know now when, however you will be notified about this, and check all my resources that I have linked in the comments as well. Catch me here, write me a nice private message if you want to. You can also leave my Facebook link here. Yeah, and I will see you very soon in the next live stream. Thank you so much. Bye.